Hey, my name is Turner Patipka, and today we are going to be reviewing the Nike Metcon X Freeze. Bam. Now this shoe was specifically built for CrossFit. What's CrossFit, you ask? Well, CrossFit is the sport of fitness. Alright, and fitness is any functional variable movement. So it can be Olympic lifting, gymnastics, running, monostructural exercises, pretty much anything that has to do with exercising is involved in it. And so these shoes are specifically built for any activity. We will be comparing 3 shoes with this shoe. Well, 2 others. The Nike Metcon X Freeze that we already shown, the Nike Metcons, which I have a pair, and then the Reebok Nano 8s, which is the most recent shoe made by Reebok for CrossFit. I do not have a pair of those. However, I've watched a lot of videos, read a lot of reviews on them, and I have a pretty good idea of what they're like, and I've also talked to people who do own them, and they've told me what it's like. Now, I'm a big sports guy, okay? And so I play basketball, tennis, soccer. I played tennis in college, and being able to play sports in a pair of shoes is big to me, and also being able to do all of those things in one shoe is super important to me, because I'm also not all about going and spending lots of money on all different kinds of shoes to do different activities. And so that's what I look for when I'm buying a shoe. That being said, the Nike Metcon X Freeze are that shoe to me. They have all this kind of new technology in it that makes it much more free and functional to go running and doing basketball and soccer and tennis and cutting. Obviously I won't wear them for soccer because they don't have cleats. They are a great shoe for just any sort of moving. Whereas in comparison to the Nike Metcons, the original ones, they are very stiff shoes, mainly made for lifting or just anything that's kind of stationary. So, staying still and doing burpees. When you run in them, they really hurt your legs a lot. And then the Nanos are not made for cutting necessarily. They are strictly for sprinting forward. You could probably run long distance in them. But yet again, I've heard that they're not very comfortable. They kind of burn your calves up. But when I've run in these Nike Metcon X Freeze, it just feels like any other running shoe I've ever used, and they're great for any sort of mobility. I play basketball in them, and they feel a lot like other pair of basketball shoes I've tried out. Now, what makes these shoes so good? Part of it is the Nike Flyknit that they use inside the shoes. It's inside and it grips around your foot, so it kind of keeps your foot stable and yet flexible with all the movement, where you don't have to tie it super tight to keep it in there. Another thing is that they have a comfort fit booty, so right around your heel, it grasps your heel, sorry about that, and it really makes it comfortable no matter what your foot is like. But it doesn't allow your back of your foot, your heel, to shift around too much when you're running around. It really keeps it stable and attached to your foot, so it kind of feels like it's actually part of your foot. Another aspect of it that is probably my favorite part that they've changed since the other shoes is they have a mid-foot stability. So right in the center of the foot, it allows your foot, every time you cut, it kind of moves with your foot. And that's big because a lot of sports in general are just cutting back and forth. And so adding that into the shoe makes a big difference. And in the Nanos and in the Metcons, the regular Metcons, they do not have that. And I've experienced that, and it is not great because you just don't feel comfortable like with your ankle or anything when you're running around. And I feel like that's the big difference for not rolling your ankle with them. Now with this shoe, they also have an open mesh, and a lot of people really like mesh on their shoes because it allows for breathability, so you don't get that stanky foot smell all the time, and you don't leave your shoes in your car and then your car just stinks. And I know that my feet smell terrible. My wife will tell me that all the time. And so this shoe having that open mesh allows for them to air out quickly and allows my foot to breathe and not sweat as much. Whereas the original Metcons are like a type of lace, and it does not have any sort of breathability, and so are the Nanos. The Nanos are the exact same type of material that the Nike Metcons use, and so both of them just don't really allow your feet to breathe, and I feel like that's super necessary when you're running around and doing a lot of cardio. This shoe is also much lighter than the Nike Metcon X's. It doesn't have a thick sole like they do. It being the mesh is much lighter, whereas the Nano is 10 ounces. I believe the shoe is just below 10 ounces, like 9 ounces, 9.7 ounces. And that's not a great difference, but whenever you run, you really feel the weight difference. And it's also a very flexible shoe. The Nike Metcon and Nanos are both very stiff shoes. And so this one kind of having a pop with it, right? So it kind of pops down. The other shoes actually, whenever they bend, they'll actually rip after a certain amount of time. See what I mean? Just rips right out. Now lastly, the feature I really like on this shoe is also the dual density midsole with Cold Fusion technology, which sounds crazy awesome. All right, Cold Fusion, that sounds super intense. And I really don't know much about it, but basically what it is they have 2 layers inside the sole of the shoe. One side is the softer layer, and on the outside, I guess they use Cold Fusion to create a firmer layer that provides a lot more comfort for your foot, which fully explains why running long distance in this shoe is so much better. Because if you don't have that, and it's just a very thin layer, which is what the Nike Metcons are, you basically feel the pounding of your foot every time you hit the ground hard. That kind of wears on your knees, and it really burns your calves up and your Achilles. So this really makes a big difference because I do a lot of long distance running in my workouts. And so being able to not feel every single step is just a great game changer for me. Another problem with that is that when I've worn that shoe out in the rain, my foot gets kind of wet. Those are just a few of the technical differences and preferences that I look for when I buy a shoe. But this shoe also comes in a lot of different colors. All these shoes kind of come in different colors, so it's not a really big game changer or anything. Price-wise, this is sitting right around $99, $95, $100, whereas the Nano 8s are sitting at $110, $109.95, so $110. That's not a big difference either. Basically, they're all priced roughly the same. A lot of it really comes down to whether or not you prefer Reebok or Nike. But this shoe right here, I feel like is very different from what the other ones offer. And just the pure comfort of long workouts, just long grueling workouts that you have to really push through, and the ability to be able to play other sports in it. I just feel like that's kind of the all-encompassing factor that this shoe has, that it can be used for literally anything. It's pretty stylish, so you can wear it out too. It's the shoe for all activities, if that's what you're looking for. So yeah, that's my review on the Nike Metcon X Freeze. It's got a lot of new technology in it, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who is very active and enjoys running and enjoys lifting weights and all sorts of just functional activity. I think it would be the shoe for you.